Right, day 2 is going in real quick. We're off to a good start this morning. We're still busy with the rear suspension. Well, actually, rear suspension is done. What we're doing right now is I'm just going to do a diff service on that as well, change the oils on the diffs, do the transmission while we're at it, and then we're going to move on to the front suspension and then change the springs and the shocks on the front. In the meantime, Randy's already kicked into the interior of the vehicle. I'm removing all the seats and all the wiring from here, so we're stripping the vehicle completely, as you can see, and then from there we'll move to laying the brand new layout. What I've done though, the vehicle that I purchased, or actually the vehicle that I imported from Oman, came with a stupid half bench seat in the front, and it absolutely destroys Ant's back. So what I've done is I'm going to put a new configuration in over here. Let me show you what I've got. This is the combination that was in the vehicle. As you can see, you had the single seat and then the stupid little bench seat, which is really uncomfortable for the passengers because it's got no lumbar support whatsoever. So what we're doing is we're basically changing that bench seat, goes out. The front driver's seat that I used to have will go into the rear, and we'll be putting these two new seats, or newer seats, into the front. So I'm going to have single seat front and single seat in the back. On next to the passenger in the back, so next to Jordan's seat, will be the battery configuration. It will have the compressor, it'll have the cylinder, the air cylinder, the whole bank chute will be there. And on top of that, I haven't really thought what I'm going to do yet. I might lay a fridge there, which opens up space at the back, or I might do the shelving over there so that all the camera gear can go in there and it's easily accessible from here versus having to open up the rear every time. So work's going really quickly here at Icon. I mean, we're hour and a half into day 2 and tons happening. Let's have a quick chat about Airbag, man. I tell you what, this is such a simple piece of kit to install, and anybody that's really mechanically minded would find this a breeze. The instructions real easy coming out of the box, lovely illustrated instructions. YouTube, there's a wealth of information over there as well, but it's really simple. You drop the U-bolts, or you loosen the U-bolts if you're fitting it to an existing suspension. Now obviously we changed the entire suspension, putting the Tough Dog suspension in here, but by loosening your U-bolts that are holding on to your leaf springs, basically loosening them up, and then fitting the airbag with the bracket that they give you into that, removing the bump stop at the top and fitting it into the existing holes of the bump stop. So there's no additional modifications whatsoever. The brackets that come with that, ready to fit your preferred vehicle, or in this case our 70 series, and found it extremely easy to get it in no time. Now obviously it took us a little bit longer because we've replaced the entire suspension. But I reckon that this would probably take you about a half an hour on either side to get in. You know, from here, obviously, we're going to run the airlines and the whole bang shoot, but to physically get the bags in, what a simple job. You know what? Great going, guys. You've made a product that is really simple and easy to install. We'll see how difficult it is to get the airlines to work and obviously hooked up to the entire system, but again, the illustrations, the whole setup looks pretty easy. I don't think it's going to be a mission to move forward on that. Looks damn good though. Can't wait to get this off-road and see what she's like. Well done, guys, and well done, Tough Dog. You know, you guys have got a good-looking product out there. So we got left front in, pretty simple once again. You know what you're doing. Remove the shock, remove the spring, get the new spring in there. Takes a little bit of persuasion to get the new one in there, purely because obviously it's got the lift with it. But once you got that in, fit the shock. Really simple. I want to show you the difference between the Tough Dog front spring and the standard cruiser spring. Now, first of all, you're going to ask, why do I have the standard cruiser, the OEM spring in the front? Well, when I installed the TJM suspension lift, I never changed the front springs because I don't like the way that the TJM was, the stance of the vehicle. Basically, it lifted the nose,
The rear was lifted with a 500 kg constant weight, but the vehicle was at an angle. Basically, the nose was higher than the rear. So I kept the standard springs in the front. There wasn't much weight that goes to the front really. Most of my add-ons go to the rear of the vehicle, and I just put the TJM shocks in the front. Now with Airbag Man, I can now go and lift the front the 2 inches that I need, and also obviously you can see the strength versus these flimsy little ones, so I'm not going to get that rocking effect anymore, and I'm not going to rely on the shock being that strong, which it was, versus putting in this heavier duty spring in the front. But my vehicle at normal stance now would be level with a slight load, would be nose high. Not anymore, because I've got Airbag Man, so I can adjust the ride height of my vehicle at any given time. Doesn't matter what load I put into it. So yeah, a visual representation from Toyota Land Cruiser Standard versus the Tough Dog suspension. Front suspension done. Now it's onto the steering stabilization. Now this is the standard stabilizer or steering damper that you get with your 76 series or 70 series or any 70 series for that matter. And if you own a 70 series, you will know what I'm talking about when it gets to a real shimmy, wishy-washy drive. I mean, there's always a bit of play and it just doesn't feel like you've got full control of the vehicle, especially on tar. When you're off-road, makes no difference. Can't believe I've actually had this on my vehicle for 5 years and never changed it, but yeah, done a great job. It's still in great condition, but replacing with this, I mean, look at the difference. This is going to change our ride completely. This is going to change the stabilization, the shimminess, give us that direct steering feel when we're on tar roads. So out with the old, in with the new. Let's get it done. So what we've got here, we've got a little bit of a problem. We've got to move the safety belt or remove the safety belt harness, because the seat, the bench seat that comes in the front, basically the safety belt harness is connected to one bolt. Quite dangerous, but that bolt is stripped, so obviously over the years it's rusted, and they spot weld the nut onto the bottom side of the chassis inside the channel, so you can't reach the other side. So we have to grind off the top here and replace it, and then remove the safety belt and move it to the other side. So thank God these guys are a fabrication workshop as well, where they got all the tools and the know-how to get this all fixed nice and safely and securely, and then get it all sorted out. Make sure it's not, well, it's a Toyota, it's probably going to rust, but at least it's a little bit more rust proof. Right, so as you can see, this spot over here needs to move across to about there for the single seat. So this is where the safety belt was, over here, and we'll have to move the safety belt to this hole and move the single seat to there. So luckily enough, once again, these guys at Icon know what they're doing. They picked up where the spot welding was done, just drilled onto the spot welding and removed it quite easily. And bad, look at this Toyota, no wonder it freaking rusts. There's not even any primer on this over here, so they basically just spot welded and then sprayed the vehicle over it. So this is where you're going to get your rust if you own a Toyota. So we'll cover this up right now, but that's shoddy. Bad on you, Toyota. So that'll move to there. Safety belt will go into this hole here, and we should be able to get the front single seat in, no problem. Now, as you saw earlier, it's not a, well, standard easy job to change it from the bench seat to the single seat, but the guys here at Icon know what they're doing. So if you do get it, bring it down to them. I would put in probably about anything between an hour and a half to 2 hours job. It isn't an easy job, to say the least. So if it gets done proper, then, you know, hour to 2 hours labor, and you should be able to get it done. So we're all sorted over here right now. Inside of the vehicle, totally gutted as well.
front seat. We fitted it in and it works like a charm. So we'll leave it out for now, purely because we want to run all the wiring, the cabling and all that in there. But pretty chuffed. 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we've achieved a hell of a lot today. It's only day 1.5 of the build, and man, I'm impressed with the amount of work we've been able to pull off. So hey, who knows, maybe we pull off this whole build in 4 days. Let's see how it goes. And that's a wrap for day 2. So a lot accomplished in the last 1.5 days. Full suspension done, airbag man fitted, the electronics prepped and ready to go. Front seat, removed the bracket or moved the bracket to the side so the front seat fits in. Tomorrow we're going to try and work out how the rear seat fits in, and then from there we can work out how much space is left for the batteries and the air compressor and all those things that are going to go behind my seat. So I want you to have a look at this. Removing the batteries, the dual batteries out of the engine bay over here. Man, I've got so much space left. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might have to get a big supercharger or stick in a big nasty V8 petrol motor in here to give us some speed, but I'll never do that. But yeah, very impressed with what we've done in the last 1.5 days. So gonna sign off for today and we'll catch you tomorrow. Cheers.